My name is Patricia Wanjiru Kariuki Henry. I am an expert in food nutrition and dietetics. I also host a podcast titled Food Security System. It is hosted on Spotify under the name Patricia Henry. I am the founder of Patricia Farm Fresh, Food Directs Generations, and Food Security System podcast. I have an initiative in Kirinyaga, Kenya, where I am restoring the Ageko indigenous cultural foods on the farm, on the table, and on the granary. This is to solve the problem that has been in Mount Kenya for the past 1 decade. We have seen the high cases of cancer that has been rising consistently over the past 10 years. We have seen the rise of type 2 diabetes, gastrointestinal tract diseases like gastroesophageal reflux diseases. This is compounded by acidic soil and climate change. There's something that inspired me to start this initiative. Back in 2017, I started studying food security systems in Kenya, from production to distribution to retail. And while I was doing this, I was engaging with small-scale farmers. And coming from the Ageko indigenous community, I saw how climate change was affecting the farmers. I saw how the acidity of the soil was affecting the production of crops, and I heard a lot of people complain to me about wanasikia wako na acid, meaning they have gastrointestinal tract reflux diseases. Also, I have had very close relatives who have passed on because of cancer. And in my village and around our villages in Kirinyaga, you cannot go 2-3 homesteads where people have not experienced cancer or type 2 diabetes. It has become a real problem in Mount Kenya. So that motivated me, and of course, having my background in food nutrition and dietetics, I started to think about how can I solve this problem. So for around 2 years, I sat down with that and tried to think on how can I do it, and I came up with the idea of using the Ageko indigenous cultural foods to try and solve that problem. And so far, we have restored over 15 Ageko indigenous cultural vegetables. We have restored yams. We have also restored the trees, because you cannot grow food if you don't have a good climate. So yes, among so many other things that we have achieved, and that is what really inspired me to keep going. The number of beneficiaries so far are 21 who have gone through the training of a 5-week soil health module. And in this module, we are using the Ageko indigenous farming practices to restore the health of the soil. My program, one of the program which we are running is Teri niguo irio cianda, meaning verbatim translation, soil is food for the stomach. So what we have done so far is trained 21 small-scale farmers who have already started restoring this, and I have so many stories to tell, but I will pick like 2 or 3. I have someone called Millicent Wangari Waweru, who has already restored these foods, and she was having allergic reactions to napier grass. And because of the consumption of the Ageko indigenous cultural vegetables, that has already gone, because these foods have an element of curative and preventive medicine in them. I have another one called Martha Wamboi Murioki. She has been having gastroesophageal reflux diseases, and because of the consumption of usuru wa mukio, now she's saying the symptoms are gone and she's able to eat. Usually she would eat, and most of the time she would vomit because of the microbes in the gut, the bacteria in the gut were compromised. So right now we have restored that, and she's healthy and she's doing better than before, and she's not going to the hospital as well. I have one farmer in regard to the soil called Andrew Mwangi Warugi. Andrew Mwangi Warugi had a pH that was really acidic, and through the use of the Ageko indigenous cultural practices of farming, like using wood ash to increase the soil pH, or increase the soil pH, that means we move it from being acidic to where the crops are supposed to grow between around 6 6 pH to around 6.5. So we have seen he's the one who has done the most. He has increased the soil pH by 68%. So this has been such a good program, and we are seeing a lot of success. And there are so many other stories I have. I share them on my social media platforms, and on YouTube, on in the podcast, and across all other social media platforms like Facebook and X and TikTok as well. As I said, there are so many stories to tell. So far, I will say that the group of farmers we have been holding a fashion show, we just held our latest fashion show on 14th. That was on Saturday. We celebrated Valentine's Day. And in this fashion show, what we do, we bring the foods and we showcase it to the community and showcase all the foods that we have restored in the farms and that the farmers are now consuming. And so far, these farmers are actually producing between 60 and 90 liters of osoroamukio, which is fermented gruel, and they're selling in the local market. So we are not just doing the soil and the farmers, but we're also reaching to the community, which has had incredible impact. And the community is actually very happy because they feel so much connected to their Agikoyo cultural heritage. And not just that, they are connected to that, but they are getting the phytochemicals, they are getting the probiotics, and they are getting all the nutrients that they need to lead a healthy lifestyle and go back to the farms.
So, almost. Can you describe a specific challenge your initiative encountered and the actions you took to overcome it while ensuring continued progress?
Yeah, great. So just as any other founder, I have had challenges. Some of them is the acceptability of the program, because bringing people together is tough, especially small-scale farmers, because they are really busy. But what I did is I talked to all of them, I encouraged them and taught them the benefits and how it's going to impact their lifestyle, how it's going to impact them. And just as I said, the results are really encouraging. So it's helping very much to keep the program alive, because it's not a hoax, it's science and it's working, and people can feel the impact, and it's doing very well in that regard. The other challenge that I have had, which I've still not yet solved, is the lack of resources to expand my program. But I'm hoping that with time, I will be able to face that challenge and solve it.
So looking ahead, what goals have you set for the next decade, and how do you plan to achieve them?
That's an interesting question. It's a good question, because otherwise how would you have an organization if you don't have a future, right? So the goals that I've set is that we want to get now to the market. We just don't want to be selfish with our foods as the Agikoyo people. We want to share this food, and we want to share this food because this food is rich in phytochemicals. That means it has the power to prevent and reduce cases of cancers, all types of cancers. These foods are also low in glycemic index, meaning they have the power to prevent type 2 diabetes. And these foods also, whether you are from another community, you somewhat feel connected to the indigenous people, and you feel connected to your identity and your heritage. So we want to take the market, and we want to take it all. Around 63% of women in Kenya are small-scale farmers. And women are also the lead, or they are the people who lead in their households. So we have given so much to them in regard to helping them increase household food security. So far from the program, some people actually never used to consume any Agikoyo indigenous culture food. So we have seen 100% uptake of the Agikoyo indigenous cultural foods, especially the vegetables. And to note is one most important is that we have a micronutrient deficiency, especially iron. And one of our indigenous vegetables, which is manago, has around 8 milligrams of iron. And when we combine it with other vegetables, we are able to meet at least 70% of the RDA that is recommended for women. What does this mean? It means that that woman is able to give more to herself and give more to the community, give more to her household, and also give more to the program.